Yo, what's going on, people? This is this is off the ropes boxing and MMA. I am Julian.
And I am George.
You know,
Welcome. Good evening. Happy New Year.
New Year 2022. We
Yes.
are here. We are here. Another year of hopefully hoping we get the fights we want to see this year, and looks like we're gonna start the year off right. In February. Oh, actually, we just did. Actually, in the first of January this week, past weekend. We got a little treat of what's to come throughout the whole year.
Yes.
But yeah, man, let's get going, man. We can kind of missed you guys.
Yeah,
Nah,
yeah. We
nah, let's
most
say this. I really did miss you guys. It's been a little bit.
yeah, we most definitely did. Christmas, New Year's, it's been busy. I know, when you got to make time for these kinds of things and you really got to push forward. And that's something we always talk about doing and working on every time we are off camera or anytime we get a chance to talk. We're always setting goals, and that's definitely one of our goals is try to get this going, man. But we are a little bit late, a couple of days late. We did come up with our very own off the ropes, awards for 2021. There was definitely good fights, from knockouts to prospects to female fighters to can't forget the women. There was so many to choose from. And then when
Yeah,
you actually look through them, like the third quarter alone anybody could have won any one of these awards. So we really had to dig deep and go back all the way to January. You know, I
yeah.
know.
There's even a lot of freaking fights that we disagree on. That came on this year. That the awards actually came out. And kind of disgusted by some of them, but whatever. But
That's
hey,
how it
man.
is.
But let's get this fun going, man. I
Yeah.
mean, like we said, I mean, going into last year, I mean, it broke out. We broke out last year, with the Oscar Valdez Burchell fight. Okay, we'll start that way. Um, that fight right there kind of started the 2021 year. Okay, like and this is where we're gonna start with. We're gonna start with our knockouts of the year. Okay, straight up. We're just gonna come right at you guys.
Yeah.
Our knockout of the year. This year, I mean, it was brought to my attention, of course, the Wilder and Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury actually got the award. I actually had Oscar Valdez knocking out Burchell, in the fashion that he did. Like we talked about last year, the yell heard around the world. The scream heard around the world. And from that knockout was just great to me. I mean, this year Oscar Valdez showed out. I mean, Tucson, not just because he's a Tucson native, but he showed on national television that he's here to stay. He's here to be the champion.
Hmm. Yeah, for
So
sure.
what was your take on the knockout of the year, man? Like, did you agree with Tyson Fury?
I mean, like I said, man, there's so many fights that, like I said, even the third quarter, you could have been like knockout of the year, fight of the year, fighter of the year, KO. So many different ways you can go
Round
with
of the
it.
year, for
Round of the
sure.
year, dude, for sure. But when you go back, like I said, that's when Valdez fought was in February, and even the
Yes,
month before that, and like even Ryan Garcia had a really good knockout for his first
Campbell.
big
Yeah,
step up fight, man, and that was a scary one for him.
him getting knocked down, overcoming
Him,
adversity at the beginning of the year.
yeah, and body shots, dude. I mean, I think they're worse than seeing someone get like flatline because you see the agony and pain these guys are in, like with them body shots. They're right there on the ground, holding their hips, their side, and
Yeah. And how many of those did we see last year coming from different boxers? I mean, we have a lot of them that happened last year. I mean, look at what happened. Tank did to Barrios.
Tank Barrows exactly.
Yeah, Tank Barrios. I mean, that's another good example, of body work. Um, Fulton, Fulton and the Figueroa went at it. They were just body shotting all day. I mean,
Yeah,
that
body
was.
shot after body shot.
I mean,
But
but that was. I mean, it was just good. It's good to see the body work this past year in boxing.
yeah, so like I was saying, going back to January, I
And
think that kind of kicked off. That kicked off like it could have for a knockout of the year. Like Garcia could have easily been one of the picks.
yes,
Um,
and of course Gabriel Salo also. I mean, he could have been he could have been up there as well too. You know, with his KO. I mean, it was very impressive what he did in June. Was it that he when he, that happened or May?
It was like mid late summer for sure.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because
Yeah.
I know he's.
Yeah, Rosado could have been definitely in there. Gabe Rosado could have been in there for one of the KO years, and then also you can't forget Cepeda and Vargas.
Oh man, that was
Like,
Cepeda really laid out Vargas, man. I mean,
yeah, he did. He showed it. You know, you got to be careful who you're talking to, man. Like he's a young guy. You
yeah,
know,
of
Vargas
course,
is a
everybody
young
wants
guy,
to talk. Everybody wants to do that right now. I mean, because they want to be that
and
top
and
dog.
then it's the rivalry, right? The Mexican and Puerto Rican. So there's so much pride
Yep.
and everything going to it. But back to the original question, I thought won, who I think knockout of the year. I definitely gonna go. I'm going with Oscar Valdez. I feel like the stakes were really high because a lot of people had were picking Burchell. They were saying this was a very dangerous fight for Valdez, and because they've seen his past fights and what
Yes.
he's done, where he didn't look that great but got the win, where he looked like he got dropped. He
Yeah.
was got his
He did
jaw
enough.
broken.
He did enough.
Yeah, he did enough to get a win. So again, like the stakes were for this one was I think was the highest out of all the knockouts on there, and I would definitely I'm going with Valdez and
Yeah.
the way he did it. It could even that one could have even been a performance of the year or even a fight of the year. But
That was his best performance of his entire career. I
best
mean,
performance of his
and
career.
I think one of the best boxing performances we've seen. You know, like after, I mean, Usyk last year had the best boxing performance of last year. That's what I think. You
Mhm.
know, but Oscar Valdez displayed that same boxing IQ, mentality, and discipline in the ring. You know, I mean, not compared to his second fight last year from last year. You know, here in town, but I still had him winning.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I mean, of course, there was plenty of controversy this year with what happened with him, but everything's past that point now, and now we're looking forward to him getting down with Shakur, or maybe, well, we're already hearing other ones too with
Navarrete.
Navarrete, which I think that fight is going to go down in February or March. So everybody just keep an ear out. I mean, of course, we're going to keep you filled in on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, man. So I mean, just going on, man. We also have let's go with our young talent. Let's go with our young talents now.
So prospect.
We had a fun year this year with prospects in boxing. Um, MMA as well too. But like I said, I mean, boxing, we had a lot of prospects that were actually put on. We have Jared Anderson, Keyshawn Davis. I mean, these are just a couple, just to name right now. Who stood out in your eyes, George? I mean, I understand Brandon Lee. I mean, Jared Anderson took that award this year via ESPN.
Brandon Lee.
Um, no, Jared Anderson won that one.
Yeah.
He won that via ESPN, but I think Brandon Lee won the top ranks, top ranks
No,
prospect. No,
it
I don't
was
know.
Via.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes,
like I said, it was just. I mean, that's the thing too. Like before we continue on with the awards, is there were so many different. Like you really didn't know which one was the main winner. So one had KO of the year was Valdez, one had Wilder, and then same thing with prospect. One had Jared Anderson, one had Xander, one had Brandon Lee. So I mean, it's all on who you follow, who you're big on. If you're big on the PBC, if you're big on the Top Rank, if you're big with just boxing in general, even like the Ring
yeah.
magazine. But I guess right now, what matters to us the most is what we saw in our eyes and what stood out to us. As far as the young talent, like if I'm choosing one prospect, I'm gonna go with Xander, and that's because how busy he was. It was 6 times in 2021.
And he went 6-0.
Crazy, 6-0, man, and I could
19 years old.
and now you know what? At the very end, in his last fight in December, you knew he was really trying to shoot for that prospect of the year because he was mentioning it a few times in his interviews, and I think he was hoping to get it. And I agree. I thought he should have got it.
Hmm.
Not to take anything away from Brandon Lee or Jared Anderson, but I think if you're going to look at their body of work, Jared Anderson, I think had a step up fight, had more of like a at risk fight, And
Yeah, when he fought Rozicki, that was a
yeah,
that was a big thing. I think that won it for him
hmm
this year because I mean Rozicki was a dangerous undefeated fighter coming into this fight. I mean, a lot of people don't know who he is, but I mean, yes, the man does have power.
oh
He
yeah,
does have power. He did have 12 knockouts out of I think 21 fights that he had,
yeah, they were both
which is
undefeated.
still, I mean, which is still good. I mean, but like I said, like just like George, you just said, man. I mean, Xander, we met the kid, humble kid. I mean, very family oriented. He fought here on his birthday, of course, here in Tucson. Just and like you just said, he stayed busy. He stayed busy, and he, sh- he at his age right now, 19, the discipline that he shows as well in the ring, to be where he's at right now. I mean, imagine what he's gonna do next year.
Man, sky's the limit for that kid. And
Like, what is
you
gonna
see,
happen?
I was reading actually before we came on that he wants to fight Berlanga in the Madison Square Garden. Like I know they're supposed to be cool and they're boys and all, but
Super middleweight though. Let's do it.
he wants it at the end of next year.
I think
I
he
was
could
like,
win.
hey,
I
bro,
think he could win that fight. I
man,
honestly
that's
do.
yeah. I
Good fight. Be a great
from the
fight.
eye test, he's got the goods, man. He's good body work, jab. He's really good with with keeping the distance. Berlango needs to get on the inside.
Yeah,
Um,
Berlanga this year we found out that
some bone mineral.
a more seasoned fighter will put you down.
Yeah,
And that's what happened. He actually got a dose of reality. He has two fights last year, both went the distance.
yeah.
Before two fights before that, he hadn't even got out of the first round.
No, he
So I
didn't.
mean that tells you a lot. I mean what he needs to work on this coming year.
Hmm.
I believe. I mean, like he's still good. He's still badass. I mean, he's still one of my favorites
Oh yeah,
coming up. Berlanga. I just feel his defense really needs to be worked on. His head movement really needs work. Those are the two things that kid needs to work on. But going back to the prospect of the year,
yeah,
Xander Zayas, I mean, in our eyes, had it. And, I mean, but big ups to Jared Anderson, big ups to Brandon Lee, big ups to Keyshawn Davis. I mean, Jai. I mean, man, we should
I
see
was
you,
just about to
brother. I
mention
mean,
that right now, man. I
yeah,
was
man,
getting like,
Jai,
what do you
man.
say that?
We see you, bro. I mean, don't worry, man. I
Lee
mean, all these kids are
Carlos
coming up,
Jackson.
man.
Yeah.
Remember these names because they're. I mean, they've been on our show. I
Hmm.
mean, like, but these names right here, we're gonna make you. I mean, next year we're looking at seeing Rajon probably get up there too. I mean, he's gonna make a name for himself in his division.
Yeah,
I mean,
Rajon.
these kids are. This is the future. This is why we call them their
Right.
prospects. This is why
Yeah.
they're prospects, and they're great. You know, and they're shooting for greatness, every single one of them. And I mean, we wish them all luck. In the future. Whatever happens. I mean, win or lose. I mean, you guys are still great.
Yeah. Hey, you got to give it up to Top Rank, right? They're signing like all these young guys.
Yep, a lot, a
There's a
lot.
reason, and
The
you
Davis
see some of
brothers, both of them. I mean,
these YouTube channels that try to throw those conspiracies out there that the Top Rank don't like black fighters. Come on, guys, let's quit with the narrative with that kind of crap.
yeah,
If that was the case, not to throw race or anything like that out there, but just look at the last couple of fighters, man. There's
just
no race, bro. There's no such thing as
just put respect on their names.
if you're a good fighter, just know that I think as far as Top Rank, they probably have like the best overall history, like with the young fighters to get them off the ground and running. I mean,
I
there's so
agree.
many to name. Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya. Those are just like the big names that we know of, and there's
Muhammad
so many
Ali, by the
more.
way, then you guys know. I mean, Muhammad.
Big
Yeah,
stuff. Come on.
yeah. Nico Ali Walsh. I mean,
Hey,
kids are coming up. I mean, all these guys. I mean, just keep the names in your heads. Keep them in the back of your head. I mean, they're here.
yeah, for sure.
They're here, and
Yeah,
it's gonna be a fun year.
yeah, man. And you just, moving forward, I guess our prospect, we both agreed on Xander, right?
Yep.
All right. I guess I'll go with the next category. And who do you have as fighter female of the year? Like, do you have
Man,
one
that
in mind,
was
or Because I mean, if you think about it, man, this was a really good year for
Oh my
women's boxing.
goodness, that's this one right here.
Really
I mean, we talked about it before we got on. It's hard right now for me, considering. I mean, you have Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor, you have freaking Michaela Mayer, a Baumgartner. I mean, you have all these women coming up, man. I mean, look at La Cobra.
what
Look
about
at
from the
Delilah
zone?
La Cobra Reese. I mean, she's all these people are hungry. All these girls are hungry. I mean, they're making women's box. They're turning up women's boxing another notch right now. But going back to that, for me, man, oh shit. Oh man, it was between Amanda and Katie.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'll take Katie for my fighter of the
Okay.
year. Katie, to me, did. I mean, she fought in more of high level in the high level arenas, bigger cards, and they were all the zone cards too. So I mean, the everything was in Europe, of course, last year in England. But I mean, you're talking fights over 80,000 fans. I mean, so I mean, I believe she's gonna be ready for the big spotlight next year because she's already been performing, in this. But I mean, between her and Amanda Serrano, I mean, it's as much as I love Serrano. I mean, Katie, I just believe stayed more busy this year too, and I think she did what she had to do to make a statement in the division.
And yeah, I definitely agree. I would say Katie. I mean, of course, got to give it up to Serrano. I think with the push from Jake Paul, not that she wasn't known, but obviously the platform that the Paul brothers bring. You may like them, you may not, but what they're doing as far as
Promotion.
promotion, like they're really pushing these people out, and they really want them to get paid. This was Amanda Serrano's highest payday up to date. Was her first fight with Jake Paul and Tyrone Woodley, number one. So I feel with the backing behind Jake Paul, he's got the young guys, he's got the YouTubers, the social media super people, and all that. So this puts bigger eyes, not just to boxing, but also to a female fighter like Amanda Serrano. So I can't be mad
Yep.
at that. So my hats off to Jake Paul for that. But as far as female boxer of the year, um, man, it was tough because Michaela Mayer
Yeah, she's
unified. That was one hell of a fight. I mean, if we're gonna put, I think if we start up a category
a
right off the
women's
spot,
fighter of the year. That
a
was
woman,
it.
yeah, fight of the year would definitely be
Mhm.
Michaela Meyer.
Yep,
But
showed heart.
my fighter of the year is definitely Katie Taylor. And I can't wait for that Serrano fight. To me, that is the most 50-50 fight that I could think of, male and female right now.
Yeah, right now. I mean, I'm gonna put this out right now. The zone. Please, you're gonna make this card. Make this an all-female night card. Please. I mean, what would this do for female boxing? What would this do for our young women growing up in combat sports right now?
Dude.
I mean, what would that do? I mean, to show women could actually get on a main card. They're actually gonna highlight a main card. I mean, you have Amanda Nunes in the UFC doing this already.
Yeah.
You have Clarissa Shields doing this on the PFL. I mean, but now, I mean, I think it's time now for boxing. This is the time now to where you could actually put this kind of talent on a pay per view that I think would actually do damn good.
All female card, bro. You know how crazy that would be? I mean, we
I
can't
would be
forget
surprised.
Sanisa. You can't forget Super Sanisa either.
Heck no, that girl's freaking bad, bro.
Dude,
I
she's
mean,
got hands, bro.
we've been talking about Super Six tournaments. I mean, a Super Six tournament in the women's division. Holy shit!
Oh,
I mean,
no. Yeah,
yeah,
hey.
yeah, exactly. No, that's exactly. I was like, no.
You could definitely do a card from a really low weight all the way to the top, man. Jessica McCaskill's in there, Clarissa
Yeah,
Shields. But I think overall, who had a better year? I'm gonna go with Katie Taylor. She definitely stayed busy. I think she fought 4 times this year. I'm
Yeah,
out,
four.
I'm out to
Yeah, four
double.
times. I think she fought February. Then she fought again in May. Then she fought August in that card of Jake Paul.
Hmm.
No, no, I'm sorry. It was the same day as the Jake Paul fight on the zone. And then
Yeah,
she fought recent. What, 2 weeks ago? Two
yeah.
weeks ago?
That was what card was that? But yeah, she fought just recent.
Yeah, man. But it's fun to see where the women are going right now. And so everybody just stay tuned too for women's boxing this year because we're probably gonna get a treat. And boxing probably hasn't had a treat like this in any women boxing ever. And I could actually say that because I mean Layla Ali was probably the biggest thing to come out of women's boxing right now.
Can't forget
But
the pioneer. I
Pioneer,
mean,
yep. He
Miss
can
Christy
Christy
Martin.
Martin, yep.
And I bet you still haven't watched that documentary, huh?
Not yet, bro. We can.
Damn it, Julian.
I
Come
haven't
on, bro.
watched it yet. I haven't
Hey, dude,
watched it yet.
I promise you, it will. If you do not shed a tear, you got an ice box around your heart, bro.
Bro, I
But
have
if
ice. I have ice everywhere, bro. That's No, but yeah, man. So I mean, just like I said, moving forward now. Uh, your your knockout of the year.
knockout, I thought we
I
chose
mean,
knockout
I'm sorry. I mean, fight of the year. I'm so sorry.
fight of the year. So many of them, man. I'll go ahead. I'll go first, I guess, on this one. Again, we like to talk offline before we come up, so that way we get an idea. Sometimes we're on the same page, sometimes we're not. But that's what makes a friendship. You're not always gonna see eye to eye. For me, fight of the year for me has to, man, it's gonna be Wilder and Fury 3. But also I did like Figueroa and Fulton. And that was just like an action pack. It wasn't very dirty, but it was just like your traditional chest to chest, head to head,
Chess
just
match.
body shots, hooks, counters, everything in there, elbows sliding across foreheads, and that was a good fight too. But it was also fight of the year, and also surprise of the year, because remember, like the lead up to number 3, nobody was really behind it at all.
Nope.
Nobody was like, no, we want to see Fury and Joshua. That's what we were promised. But look how it turned out, man. It had so many people talking, even people that weren't boxing fans, agreeing that this was
Actually, watch the fight.
watch the fight. Yeah. And, and to us, I don't want to say all boxing's back, but if you're ever going to, pull somebody in that's new to the sport, like this would be the one to slap the tape in or go to YouTube and show them Fury 3. There's some people that watch that fight a couple times. I still watch that fight a few times
Yeah,
because it's worth it. It's definitely worth it.
it was a fun fight.
So for me, Fury 3, he was ups, downs, man, it was crazy. And for me, that was fight of the year. And got to give it a Wilder. He showed so much heart, but
He was
Wilder,
so damn tired.
yeah, Wilder's who Wilder is. And then when they were showing highlights of Luis Ortiz's fights, they showed or at least Luis Ortiz and Wilder won. Ortiz almost had Wilder out the same way. Like, he just does not have legs, but he just has so much heart, man. You got to give it to him. Dude has tremendous heart. Like, there's no quitting him. He literally, when he means like he wants to go out on his shield, he really means that.
Yeah, he
And
went down on it.
he definitely went down on it. This time he got what he wanted, because the second fight, he felt like he was cheated, but to the referee's eyes, his corner's eyes, he just was not ready to continue, and it could have been bad.
Yep.
But fight of the year for me, Wilder, Fury 3.
No, that one right there. I mean, we believe we agreed on.
Yeah.
I mean, but I kind of thought Chocolito versus Estrada, man. We're gonna get a number 4, people. Just letting everybody know.
Oh,
We're
we have.
getting we're getting number 4, and uh, all 3 fights have been the same damn way. I can only imagine what the fourth one's gonna be like. I had that
Dude.
fight. I mean, Estrada won. I had him winning as well. That fight, but man, what a slugfest that was. But yeah, you can't take anything away from that Tyson Fury Wilder fight. Like, like you just said, no, we didn't even want to really watch it, but we watched it anyway, and we were back and forth on the phone. I remember like, what the hell is going on? Like we didn't like this. Nobody expected it, like you said.
Mm-mm.
Surprise fight of the year, yes. Unless we did want to see Fury Joshua, like you also said too, and but hey, I think this one kind of shed the cake, man, lit the cake up, because I mean we got two huge heavyweight fights last year with between Anthony Joshua and Usyk, and then you got Wilder versus Fury, and we just got an extra dose of boxing this at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like yes, but it is correct. I mean, Tyson Fury Wilder definitely was fight of the year, and if we're gonna move on to this one right here, I could definitely just say too they had the round of the year as well.
Yeah, they did,
And
bro.
number four, the fourth round was definitely a round to remember in boxing this year and probably boxing history. Something like I said, we're all gonna remember. I mean, everybody thought Deontay was done, and he ends up knocking Fury down twice in the damn round. It's just like what the hell's
Never could
going
count
on
that guy out, dude. When they say a hurt fighter's a dangerous fighter, he's the definition of a
of a
hurt
dangerous?
fighter that's dangerous.
Because he could
Yeah.
still throw a bomb on you, and I mean he did. I mean, it didn't look too hard, but it was enough to put Tyson Fury down.
And
And
it's those
Tyson
ones that
Fury,
hurt, man. Those are the ones that hurt you, the ones that don't hit you clean, but just enough off the temple or even off the chin, and your equilibrium is thrown off and everything, man.
yeah, I mean it was a damn good fight, man. I mean, I recommend you guys, if you haven't seen the fight, go ahead and watch it. I recommend you guys watch the Chocolito Estrada 3 fight too, and even like George said, even watch the Fulton Figueroa, and please watch the Michaela Myers fight, please. Because her and that Russian girl, I don't know what the hell to tell you, man. They went at it.
Yeah, they did. And I know we missed a couple episodes where we were trying to talk about stuff that happened at the end of the year or going towards the end of the year. And I know one thing that was mentioned was Wilder was looking at possibly retiring. I believe that I mean, if he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it for his daughter. But there's too much fight in him, bro. And there's way too much fight in Wilder. Um, we both think, right? If he's got one more fight in him, we both know. I think most of the whole boxing world knows the last fight
Joshua.
that is going to be for him, and it's going to be Joshua. And you know what? That's another 50-50 fight because we've seen Joshua very vulnerable. We also seen that he can box really well, and people that box really well that have some kind of stamina actually can make it to the end with Wilder. But Wilder is dangerous to the very last second of the very last round in that fight. I
Yeah,
mean,
this is true.
I would hate to see him go, but if he was to go retire, like I mean, hats off to him. He had a great career, so many highlights, knockouts, fights of the year, rounds of the year with him. But
Wilder versus Joshua was talked about way before Tyson even came into the picture.
it's very true, very
Okay,
true.
I mean, I was talking about Anthony Joshua in high school, and actually not in high school, like just after high school. I was talking about Wilder already, because they're the amateurs. They were already on the USA boxing. I mean, on the boxing national boxing magazines. As prospects, as amateurs of the year. And it's just things like that you can overcome adversity. It's just will Wilder decide to do it?
And he
But
shows it.
his daughter, like I said, is very important to him. She is that nobody for the people that don't know, she actually has she's what kind of sickness is it,
Spina
George?
bifida.
Spina bifida.
Yeah, she
Yeah, I
was
mean
born with it.
it's a big time thing. I mean, it happens to quite a bit of kids, and it's just he's like I said, he does everything for his daughter. We have daughters ourselves, and of course we would do anything in our power, just to protect them or give them what they need, and
Yeah,
that's what
and you
he
see,
does. So
you
big ups
definitely
to
see what
Wilder.
Wilder
Like I
does.
said,
Yeah,
all the shit talk we talk, but hey, it's just love for the sport, man.
Yeah.
But as a person, you're a cool guy, man. Just,
Yeah, definitely. And hats off if he goes. We know he could ride up in the sunset, but we know that there's one more fight that we would all love to see. My opinion, I think it's gonna happen. You
yeah,
because
it
we haven't
will.
heard anything else. I mean, right now Joshua is a little tied up with his hands right now. I think if he were to, I think you know what it is. I think Wilder's waiting to see what happens between Usyk and Joshua.
Yeah, I do. I do too. I really do
I
think
think so.
he's doing that as well. Like I said, I mean, we're gonna see some fights this year in that heavyweight division. Do you think Usyk Fury happens, or do you think Anthony Joshua is gonna regain?
Dude. I mean, you could look at the heavyweight division. It's It's crazy, dude. I mean, shoot, like, I mean, we can go to it real quick. If you got time, we can just go ahead and just take a look at this heavyweight division.
Yep,
Watch.
it's ugly. Everybody, if you guys want to look on the screen right now, check out the heavyweight division right now. But
Let's see. Is it
with
up?
yep, that's right there.
Yeah. So of course, boxing scene. I like to use them when I go see my rankings. I feel like they're pretty accurate.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
feel too. They're good. They're pretty good. So I mean, if you guys look at all these rankings right here in the heavyweight division, even Lennox Lewis talked about it this past weekend. About like Hognovich, I think his name is. That's another guy coming up in the division. Him and King Kong are supposed to go at it. Actually, they're already in
Oh
talks.
yeah, there he is, right there, ranked number 3 in the
Yep,
IBF.
yep. What I say. I mean, that guy right there is probably going to be a danger as well here in the future. Frank Sanchez, he fought this weekend too.
Yep.
The Cuban Flash. I mean, you have people like this year in the heavyweight division that want it.
Yeah.
That want it. I
Definitely.
mean, Usyk made a statement. Made a statement in this division. You know, his boxing IQ. I think him and Frank Sanchez had the best boxing IQ out of all these
Heavyweights.
heavyweights.
Oh yes.
If those two were to fight, that would be a freaking ridiculous fight.
Man, I don't think I've ever seen a heavyweight fight like that with some IQ. I mean, there's one
Two
or the other.
amateurs that fought a shit ton of fights.
Yeah,
And
it's kind of like um Kevin Durant being 7'1" with a shot. Like that's the way you see these heavyweights that can box that
and weighs
have
weighs a buck 20.
yeah yeah
Yeah, I
yeah
mean, but I mean, look at this division, people. I mean, they say heavyweight division died. Probably think that over.
yeah.
I
If
think
you're
that
not
over. Go ahead.
yeah if you're not I'm sorry if you're not sure, like I said, just pay attention to the fights that are happening. Look at the top 10. I mean, the names, right?
It
Even
shows you the
Tyson,
champions, the
yeah, you put Tyson
divisions.
Fury. If he doesn't get, is it the Dillian White fight?
Yeah.
There's a
Dylan White screwed
possibility of
himself out of that one.
yeah. There's a possibility of Andy Ruiz or even Hellenius, and there's even a possibility of Hellenius versus Ruiz. I mean, come on, Joel Joyce, Joseph
I
Parker.
call that fight. I call that fight.
You did. I actually looked back at the text messages. I'm
Yeah,
like, good.
Hellenius and Reese. That's gonna be perfect. That's gonna be a perfect fight for Reese and a perfect fight for Hellenius, just to see if he's for real.
Yeah. Hey, Michael Hunter too, man. You can't sleep on Michael Hunter. Daniel Dubois.
Yeah,
Um,
David Dubois. I think he's just too vulnerable. He has that eye. He has that eye thing going on too. The retina issue as well, and I think on the heavyweight division is too much for.
yeah, you're
I
right.
think
You're right.
considering the power that comes out of these guys' freaking punches, I
And
believe
for
that's
me,
way too much.
I think for me, one of the big surprises was Joseph Parker.
Oh hell yeah! I mean,
Dude, I've never seen him fight like that.
no, he's boxed. He
He
boxed this past
he
the last weekend of December.
yeah, that was a great showing there. So yeah, that's just kind of like a quick little rundown
Thank you,
of
man.
the heavyweight division. So
So now we have
moving forward with our
our
award,
there's a
these are the
big time
juicy ones.
upset. Yeah, I mean, there's a
These are the
huge
juicy
upset, man, this year. And a lot of people, I mean, a lot of people had this guy counted out. I mean, even us, I'm pretty sure about 99% of the damn world did too. But everybody, Mr. George Cambosos Jr. is our upset and possibly like he was a fight of the year candidate as well too for me,
Mhm.
this year. But to me, of course, he was the upset of the year. Because like I said, we met Theo. We saw what Theo did to Lomachenko. And uh, I mean, considering everything that came out after the fight about Theo's heart, I mean, would it have been different if Theo was 100%? But I mean, Theo still gave a hell of a performance, being the fact that he had a health issue with his lungs.
Yeah.
But yeah, George Cambosos was pretty much my upset of the year, and my pretty much, well, yeah, I guess you could just say upset of the year.
Or I mean, or you can even say like the biggest surprise, right?
Yeah,
Because I mean,
yeah. Hmm.
from YouTube guys to commentators to the boxing world, no one expected Cambosos to win. When we did our fight breakdown, we said that Cambosos was going to do pretty well to about mid late rounds, and we thought Lopez would get a knockout. But dude, I mean, I don't know what to say. It just was Cambosos was determined, and
Just the
when you
way
have
it
a
started, the way
mhm,
that fight started with the first round knockdown is what
set the
set the
tone.
tone for him.
Yes,
But I mean, Theo came out and knocked him down in the seventh round.
and it was a close fight. It
I mean,
wasn't
yeah,
like
oh yeah, it
Cambosos
was
completely
split decision,
dominated the whole fight. Yeah,
split decision. Still, I mean, yeah, we're still questioning what would a healthy Theo do, but I mean, all big ups to George, man. And he did what he had to do. He came in; it was a business trip for him. He is now the undisputed king of the lightweight division. Um, and he has a shit ton of people to choose from.
yeah.
We're hearing
The
we're
division, it's
we're
hot.
hearing we're hearing Haney. We're hearing. I mean, there's so many different fighters right now. Like Loma said, he's willing to go down there and fight. I honestly think Loma beats him though. I mean, that's just just my thing. um, uh, what do you think, man? Was that your upset of the year, pretty much?
It definitely was my choice, and as always, we like to talk before we come on because that's what we do. Take notes from each other, and you mentioned Mikey Garcia. I mean, that could be
Jeez.
you could call it like a disappointment of the year or upset of the year. I think if you were to split them, I mean, upset of the year obviously would for me would be the Lopez and Cambosos fight because again, I would say 95% of the world didn't see Cambosos winning. There was a very few that gambled and won some big money on Cambosos.
Yeah.
But I mean, shit, taken away from this, I know a lot of people are still counting Lopez out, and they think that it was a fluke. I don't think it was a fluke whatsoever. A healthy a healthy Lopez, who knows? Maybe he gets a win, but the fight happened. It was over and done with. Cambosos won. That could definitely be a trilogy if that fight is to be made again. But we know Lopez is done at 135.
Yep. 140 is calling his name, and
Many fights there.
yep.
Many
And we're
fights there.
hearing we're hearing Montana love. Everybody, keep that in
Mhm.
mind. Just saying.
I think the Pedrosa will happen first, though.
Yeah, because
That's
Pedraza's already fighting
yeah.
next month.
But Bob
But
Arum mentioned if no matter what happens with Pedraza, this was this morning, I guess, or even last night, he said that he no matter what Pedraza does, win or lose, that the Lopez fight will be next. Eddie Hearn is pretty much the only one that's mentioning the Montana Love, and I like that fight, but I think for a comeback fight for Lopez, I
too
don't like it
dangerous.
because it's too dangerous. You have a very confident young guy and Montana Love. He could crack. He's quick.
Cocky son of a bitch too, but I don't give a
Yeah, he's
shit. He's
cocky,
cool
man, and
with his dog.
it could be a nightmare. So I think since since Lopez is still with Top Rank, I don't think he wants to throw him out there yet. And then I think with the Pedraza, depending on what happens, he loses. or if he wins but doesn't look that great and just barely edges out a win, like we could see the end of Lopez at Top Rank.
Yeah,
So
I
I agree.
agree.
I do. I definitely can see a Lopez and Montana Love maybe at the end of the year, but I think since Byram is still his promoter, he still has to try to make some kind of money off of him and promote him. I think he'll try to throw him Pedraza, and Pedraza is not a bad name. I mean, I could see him even giving trouble to Ramirez. My ass is hurting
That's what I
right
was
now.
gonna say. Even a Jose Ramirez fight, Jose Ramirez wins.
Yeah,
And I mean, I could even see Theo fighting him.
I'm still here. Okay, hold on. Go ahead, keep talking.
Good. So scratching your bum. Message.
I gotta put a cushion on the seat.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man. I mean, this year was just filled with, I mean, fights and fighters. Of course, fighter of the year. We all pretty sure we all know who that is. And and Canelo Alvarez is the number one pound for pound right now, regard, just hands down. I think in a lot of people's books, some people have TC up there, but I mean, you can't compare what Canelo did this year for fighter of the year. You could very easily throw Alexander Usyk in there as well. I believe he showed enough this year too that he can hang with the best and he could be with the best. But hey, what about a Canelo Usyk at cruiserweight one day? Man,
I don't like it.
I don't either. That's a
I
scary
do not
fight.
like.
I mean,
That's
for both dudes, that right there would
yeah.
actually be a fight I actually be freaking scared of both fighters. I don't give a damn. I mean, I'm a hardcore Canelo fan, but that fight right there is that might be a danger zone to try and do that at cruiserweight.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna say both ways, I think it'd be dangerous for Usyk because
Well, losing the weight,
weight and losing the weight. Yeah.
but the
Um.
power's still gonna be there. That's the problem. I mean, that's the big time thing with Usyk. The power's still gonna be there.
Yeah.
The
And like
boxing
they,
IQ is gonna be there.
yeah, that's the thing is that's what is gonna be there for Usyk is look what he did to Joshua, a bigger, stronger guy. He completely took everything away from him.
In in my eyes, Joshua got embarrassed in this fight. I mean, it's bad to say, but I mean, I've seen the fight a few times. What Usyk did in that fight was just freaking amazing. I mean, we talked about earlier how Oscar Valdez had that same killer instinct in this fight with Burchell. But I mean, what Usyk did to Joshua, that we all know, as the fighter that actually fought Klitschko and we overcame adversity to beat him. I mean, from a guy who ended up getting knocked out by Reeves, um, Usyk really exposed every flaw that Joshua had.
Yeah.
Like every single. I mean, I'm not just saying that as a critic. I'm just saying that from a corner standpoint as well.
Yeah, you're right, bro. You're absolutely right. Because when he lost to Ruiz, he knew what he did wrong was he tried to trade with Ruiz. Ruiz is dangerous. You can't really dude's like a zombie. Like you
Yep,
knock him down, he's gonna get right
exactly.
back up. So what he did was he went to plan B and the rematch was the box from the outside, not exchange. So now you have him against Usyk and Usyk boxed and he slugged a little bit. And there was moments where I was like, man, if Usyk steps on the gas just enough, he can get a knockout or a stoppage on Joshua. And remember the whole they counted the bell. I guess the theory was they rang the bell 10 seconds too early, but I was reading that that wasn't the conspiracy theory. It was just the timer on the TV and the actual clock at the ringside where there was a difference. But I mean, what can Joshua do different in a rematch against Usyk that actually boxed? I mean,
Body.
he body,
The body is what really hurt. Well, that's the only thing that really hurt Usyk when Joshua went to the body. And I think if he could learn how to smash the body, and come back with something, then Usyk's gonna be in a lot of trouble. And I think
Yes.
and I think Joshua needs to use his freaking reach. That's one thing that Usyk did. He broke down the damn guard. He got in his guard, and that is exactly how he beat
Yeah.
Anthony
He
Joshua.
took I yes, I could say the body work, but I'm also gonna say that I think Joshua was afraid to get hit. He doesn't like to get hit.
Mm-mm.
So in order to get to the body, he's gonna have to he's gonna get hit. And I think Usyk just knows how to throw his punches at the right time. He knows how to take away your strengths, which I think he did to Joshua. Like Joshua did land some good body shots, but he got countered in return. So
Yep,
I think
that's what
he's
breaking
gonna
down the
have to.
guard is.
Yeah,
It's just getting in there.
he's gonna have to just bite down on that mouth guard and expect to get hit. And for him to win, like you said, the body shot or go to the body. Um, people want to see him
And the
slug.
follow up. That's his problem. I mean,
I
that's
think
his
what
biggest problem.
and then also him being the bigger guy could even smother some of Usyk. In between his shots, he can throw his jab 1-2, and then kind of come
But
in, dirty boxing on the inside because he's
do
obviously
what
the
Tyson
bigger guy.
Fury did to Wilder. What did Tyson Fury use his weight?
Yeah,
Use
he's
his
just
weight to pretty much to drain what Wilder had. I mean, we saw it. We saw what it did. I mean, Wilder could barely freaking walk past the fifth round. I mean, he was barely staying up, but the boy stayed up.
yeah. But remember, Usyk,
It's a
great footwork. Yeah,
different ball game.
different ball game. He's great with footwork. But damn, dude. I think we went through like biggest win of the year, fight of the year, biggest disappointment. I mean, we did the round of the year, so there were some good ones, that could have went either way. Um, and we said upset of the year could have been Cambosos versus Lopez, or even like the Sandor, Martinez and Mikey Garcia. To me,
or
that I felt like that was one of the biggest disappointments.
even the Kiko Martinez and Kid Galah fight. I mean,
Josh,
yeah,
don't forget Josh Warrington and
Josh
Lara.
Warrington, Lara, yep, both fights. I mean, all these fights, man. Any of these could have easily got upset of the year. I mean, yeah, I think very upsetting, very disappointing was Kid Galah getting KO'd the way he did, and being the name that he had in Europe. I don't know if that's gonna last no more after that. After what Kiko just did to him.
Yeah, man, it is
I
very
mean,
unfortunate.
the unfortunate shit happens in boxing, but one punch could change everything in this sport.
Hmm.
We've seen it happen time and time again. Um, we had a lot of things too. I mean, UFC this year too, right, George? I mean, we had Fight of the Year, of course, the Arizona boys. The
Gaethje and
Arizona boys
Chandler.
got that Gaethje and Chandler, man. They slugged it out the same night as Canelo Plant.
That was tough for them to try to
Yeah, the same night. I
compete.
mean, to try and get that done, that was pretty. I mean, we're like I said, we're in between freaking fights. So I mean, you and me were just back and forth. What the
I
hell?
hated it. I hated it, but
Yeah, it had to
and
happen that day.
it was. And I thought honestly, if there was going to be any kind of card or any kind of UFC that was going to compete with Canelo, it would have been this one. But I still don't even know what the final numbers on the UFC were.
Me neither. But I do know. But Canelo did 800K buys. I mean, that's that's ridiculous amount of freaking pay per view amount. Well, right now it is because of all the streaming services. Right now, I mean, 800K right now is like golden. Uh,
Exactly.
I mean, of
Exactly.
course, you had Jake Paul and get his 1 point whatever million, but that's off of YouTube and that's off of all the million other things that he has going on, and but I mean this year, I mean we saw an upset in the women's division UFC at the end of the year, December 11th. Mrs. Amanda Nunes got taken away from her from Miss Pena.
Yeah, Juliana Pena.
Yeah, and she shocked the world. I'm pretty sure that was, if you see a lot of the videos, that was the upset of the year for a lot of commentators. Joe Rogan's, at least, I saw him
Even like ever, like upset.
ever. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, you had people such as Daniel Cormier even saying like he was. They were grabbing each other's heads. Both their bald heads were freaking. They were rubbing each other's head. How crazy they were going for this fight. You could easily talk about Yair Rodriguez and Frankie Edgar. Son of a gun. And that was a that fight too, man, was ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, as far as like the women's, I mean, the first round I watched it, it was crazy. First round, I'm like, shit, Nunez is she's gonna easily tap out Pena, and because we see the pattern,
Hmm.
we know what's gonna happen. Second round comes out,
She
Pena
boxed with
decided
her.
to keep it. She exactly, and she did. This to me is what separates boxing and MMA is going to be the stand up with the hands because it's not just about throwing hands and trying to knock somebody out. Like there's actually there's skill involved in throwing punches. It's not
There's a
just
level to boxing and a level to MMA.
yeah, and it's not just throwing and trying to hit somebody. Like it's where you're at, your footwork, your head off the line, where you're throwing your jab, tucking your chin, so many different things. And Pena, she was throwing
That
underneath.
jab was great.
She was throwing underneath, Amanda Nunes' punches. She was throwing with her head back,
Hmm.
so she was open for that jab, and she was coming straight in, no head movement, no kind of feint. She kept getting caught with that jab over and over and over, dude. And we were watching it at work. It was going crazy, and we didn't have no loudspeaker, but I could imagine if we were watching it like at a bar somewhere, it would have been nuts.
Yeah,
It
no
would have been
shit.
absolutely nuts, man.
Can only imagine what it was like there, like seeing that live. And my cousin was there actually. Santino, I see you. He was there. He got to see all this shit, man. And
Oh, dude, I bet the atmosphere. They even show like some of the MMA guy, like the actual fighters there in the stands, like going crazy, looking at each
Shane
other, like,
O'Malley, another Arizona guy that was on that card. I mean, he was son of a gun, man. I mean, everybody was going crazy that night.
yeah,
MMA shot out some cars last year that were freaking just amazing.
as
They're
always, as
they're
always.
amazing. Dana White knows how to put these cars on, but just like Jake Paul put him on blast the other day, pay your goddamn fighters.
That's
Pay
the
your
only thing I can
pay
say,
pay your
man.
damn fighters,
That
man, because you're killing the sport. You're about to lose one of your biggest. You're about to lose them Goku to freaking Ngannou. I mean to boxing, and
yeah,
that's something that's gonna be big for the heavyweight division, especially in the UFC. Because if he leaves, I guarantee you that money he's not gonna come back.
yeah. I was just reading too that they actually ran into each other this week, and I guess the biggest thing is Ngannou has people behind him that don't quite understand, I guess,
Why
what
he's
goes
MMA
on.
fighting?
No, just what goes behind closed doors, like the financial finances and everything. And from what it said, Dana White and Nagano pretty much kind of came to an agreement that whatever it is, who knows what's gonna happen. And you're right. I think that's probably the biggest thing as far as with MMA. Like these guys need to get paid. They deserve it, man. They
Yeah,
deserve it.
please.
And it's not like these guys are chumps. It's not like these guys aren't anybody. Like you can go from 1 through 10 in any of the divisions, and they've all fought each other. And the thing is, there's one division. It's not there's 5 bouts, 4 bouts, 3 bouts. It's one bout, and it could be a headache because you got to try to learn all these guys. But there's only one top 10, and they climb the ladder the way you should climb a ladder, rather than bringing a guy. But sometimes you'll get a championship fight with a guy that lost. But I can't remember the last time that happened. And we talked about it. There was fights in the past, but that was a long time ago. Back in the BJ Penn era, Matt Serra era, even Tito Ortiz era when that happened. And I think to think about it, MMA isn't even 50 years old compared to boxing. Back then, they didn't have a union. They didn't have a brothership like how boxing did back then. And that's what it's going to come to, is for these MMA guys to finally get together and be like, look, we know we're going to get paid, but we're going to have to
We
walk
gotta,
out.
have to
And
fight
that's
for
what
this.
boxing Yeah, that's what boxing did. They did the same thing in their first 50 years of existence and being a sport. So that's what MMA has to do too.
Yeah,
But it's enough of, we know these guys need to get paid. I think that's everybody's
yeah. Everybody
understanding
knows this already.
of Dana White. Fight of the year, we said it was Gaethje. I mean, we'll go down the line, and
Yep.
and if
Yeah.
you feel any different, you could tell me if you like what we came up with.
I mean, my
So
fighter of the year is Oliveira.
Oliveira, oh
Yeah.
man,
I mean, that's my fighter of the year. I mean, that guy is just he's humble. That's one. He's
yeah,
a humble guy. I love seeing that. I mean, all these guys have respect for each other after the fights. I mean, but I mean, you got to give it to him, Oliveira. That dude is out of sight, especially for just stopping Dustin the way he did. He just showed that he's on a new level. So let's see, maybe Gaethje's next. We're hearing we're
I
hearing a
hope.
lot of this. I mean, that'll be cool to see that, but ooh, man, that's gonna be a
Yeah, so that's your fight of the year. I mean, I have my mindset on Usman, on Kamara Usman, and just the body of work as well. Like you can't look
he
past
could
what
box too.
Oliveira did. Yeah, you can't look past what Oliveira did as well. Like he beat Chandler when Chandler just came in new into the UFC on his second fight. He put him in his place. Like, you know what, you got to earn your spot. Even though Chandler beat Dan Hooker, he jumped a couple guys to get into that top three, top four to try to go for a title when the belt got vacated by having a brain fart right now by
That late of night.
Khabib.
I'm kidding.
By Khabib, when the belt got vacated by Khabib. So he beat Chandler, he beat Poirier, and then his career, he's had his ups and downs. I thought Poirier was going to pull it off only based off toughness. He came close. Um, Fight of the year, to me, I think it Usman. Just the guys he beat. He beat Masvidal, Covington, and then he beat Gilbert Burns. Gilbert
Well, you
Burns
can't.
is
I
a
don't really think Masvidal counted because Masvidal took that fight on pretty much a month notice.
no. That was a
Oh,
rematch.
that was the first one. That was a rematch. Okay, that's right. That's right. No, that's
Second
right.
fight, yeah,
Okay.
the second fight there
All right.
was a complete, a complete camp
Complete
training.
domination.
Yeah, he did. He got knocked out ugly, and that was
uh,
also knockout of the year for me. I think in MMA. You agree?
yeah, because like I said
Are
too, I
there
mean,
any
going to my upset of the year is, I mean, even though I love seeing it, uh, Brandon Moreno. He came out and won the title here in Phoenix.
Oof.
He came out and won it here in Phoenix. Nobody expected him to beat Ferguson. Nobody. Everybody expected him to give it a fight up, but Moreno is pretty much my upset of the year this year because of, I mean, he took out Tony Ferguson, correct? That's his name? El Cucuy.
No, no, he
Is that him?
fought. No, it was Figueroa.
Okay,
Figueroa.
Figueroa. There you go. Yeah, Figueredo. There you go. That guy. There you go.
One of that.
Trying to remember the stupid names, man. There's just so many goddamn names in this damn thing, and freaking Brazilians. You guys have so many damn names, the same freaking pronunciations.
Yeah, it is. It'll throw you off. It's a tongue twister. For me, I think upset of the year was Rose versus Zhang.
That
One.
freaking fight was ridiculous too. That was the
That was
same night,
Yeah. The
right?
second, no, that was number two. But the first fight, I think, was for me was the upset because nobody gave Rose any chance to beat Zhang, and she kicked her, knocked her out. Fight
Yeah,
of the year too. That was a possible. That could have been a possible fight of the year because that was a on the same card too. So you had the Gaethje Chandler, then you also had the Rose and Zhang
Zhang
two.
fight. That fight was crazy, but I remember you and me were just right there watching it. Like we weren't even we ignored Anthony Durrell
I had like
completely.
my eyes went like this.
I didn't even have to do that because I didn't really care for the Durrell fight, even though he had probably one of the best knockouts this year too.
It was ugly. It was definitely ugly. Ugly. I think for me, I had one of my big disappointments was the Poirier McGregor 3.
Oh
You
man,
know,
that's
it sucked that he broke his leg, but nobody was really giving Poirier much of a they weren't giving him his props. Like, oh, he broke his leg, but I'm like, it's the same thing. You get a cut over your eye, you can't continue. Like the
Yep,
referee,
exactly. I mean,
unfortunately, he
pretty.
snapped his ankle, not even hitting him. He like stepped back and I don't know what he did, but
He just stepped
again,
wrong, and I mean that to be training that long, your body breaks down. I mean, look what happened with Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman,
man,
just to name a couple guys. I mean, that's happened to that we've actually seen live that this shit happened, and
for me, Weidman's was probably the ugliest. Yeah, definitely Weidman was probably the ugliest of them all that got his
yeah,
legs.
freaking leg went the other way, freaking hip was the other way too.
Hey, and they're even saying that he's not healing good at all. Like there's the healing, it's not going well. Like there might have to like Alex Smith, remember like from the quarterback, like it just whatever it is just not healing right. I guess we'll move on next.
Prospect.
Prospect, we know who that is.
Old Patty. El Patty.
The new McGregor. Hey, he's a tough son of a bitch, dude.
Hey,
Yeah.
bro, I like that kid, bro.
He's
Patty, he's a bad boy.
I would hate to get my ass kicked by someone with a haircut like that, bro. I think I would just hang myself.
The
Probably on
Lloyd
my
Christmas haircut.
someone beat my ass with a haircut like that, dude. Like that's it.
Shit,
Like
I'm gonna put a bag on my head. Shit, nah,
suffocating myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
nah, but Patty, I mean, that guy, he could back up his shit talk, man. I
He's
like the
tough.
kid. I like the kid a lot. Ultimate Fighter. If you guys didn't see him on there, son of a bitch. He has a. He's a yes, like you said, he's a new McGregor, and I think he will make noise this year. Um, Shout out to Sean O'Malley. He had a huge year this year too, man.
Yeah, he did.
Sean O'Malley had a huge year this year. People actually got to know who you are. Definitely would like to chief on you one day. Freaking, but
I
hey,
can't.
man, just can't. Quote unquote, can't. No, but
Yeah.
hey, man, like I said, I mean, there's just a lot of guys that are coming up for MMA this year. We're hoping for big cards. We're already getting some, and we're already getting the back ends of some of them that are about to happen. And
Yeah.
see if
And boxing.
February, yeah, see if February brings. I mean, everybody Thurman one time is back next month against
February.
Barrios. Another guy, one of my favorites, Leo Santa Cruz, his first fight back actually since the Tank Davis KO. He actually took us some time to come back. His little story too, about he actually went through a depression phase after he got knocked out. That it actually took his dad to get him out of his funk, and pretty much took his dad's story, to get him to get back in the ring. And he's not fighting a slouch in Carbajal, bro. I mean,
No.
that guy. He could slam. He could slug too, bro. And I think it's a good comeback fight for him.
Yeah, it most definitely is. I mean, with the Tank Davis, which isn't fair at all.
Yeah,
Which is
it's
not
not.
to me is not fair at all because now he's fighting in his division and it's gonna be good for him.
Yeah, I mean he's
And
back at 126 where he needs to be. That's
mhm,
Brandon. I could see him and Brandon Figueroa possibly at the end of the year.
dude, yeah, that fight
And
is actually
that's
happening February 5th, like you said on the
yes,
Barrios card. It's actually a
the
pretty
same
good.
night as Jose Pedraza and Jose Ramirez. Same
Hmm.
night, by the way,
Yeah,
everybody.
and see that card for me is actually probably one of the better PBC cards. God damn, my ass hurts sitting on these
It
hard ass
is.
chairs
No, it is. It is the best actually. It's the best PVC card I've actually seen
in a while.
in yeah probably about 3 or 4 years. I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's the PBC is trying to come back because I just think PBC is already losing their whole stable.
Yeah, dude, you know what it is too. You're right. They're losing their not just their stable, but there's a reason why they're putting a lot of these fights on pay per view. I think it's either they're overpaying their guys or they're just not making money on the
Enough
back
money.
end. They're not making their money on their back end, and I don't know what the formula is, what they need to do, but I feel they need to do something. I'm gonna keep going back to this. They need to do something like Eddie Hearn.
Let's
Do
make it
something
happen.
like the zone. Even jump ship with the zone. I don't think it would be a bad thing. Like, cause not there's not they have a good stable. They have a good enough stable, but it's just too many guys to try to
Too
keep
much.
up.
There's too much pride in that damn stable.
Way too much pride.
I mean, it's like Earl Spence. I mean, you have like Top Rank. I mean, you have TC. I mean, there's too much pride right now. I mean, that's what's hurting. To me personally, that's what's hurting TC's. Like his viewpoint from me, that's what's really hurting him. Like his just the way he goes about his business. And it's not good. It's not good for the sport. Because we want to see him fight Earl. We want to see him fight. We want to see what he can do at 154. And but like I said, this year we're gonna find out exactly what all these dudes are made out of.
Yeah. Yeah. So like you said, so I think one of the first fights that is happening this year that is a notable is a Joe Smith and Callum Johnson, January 15th. That's at ESPN. And then the following weekend will be the Gary Russell Jr. versus Mark Magzial.
hmm So I mean,
What do you think about
boxing.
that one?
Ah man, Gary Russell Jr. Fight once a
Mr.
year.
Gary Russell.
You fight once a year, but I still love you. uh, dude, I don't know. I mean, Maxayo had trouble his last fight. Um, didn't he impressed the shit out of me the fight before that, and probably the fight before that as well. His last fight though was even though he knocked out his opponent, um, he got hit quite a bit. I think Gary Russell's Junior's speed is gonna play a big part in him actually winning this fight. But I do give, I do think this fight goes all the way. It goes all 12. It's 12 rounder, right? It's a title
Yeah,
eliminator.
title eliminator.
Yeah. So no, Gary Russell has the belt, doesn't he? Gary Russell
I thought
Jr.
they didn't strip him.
No, oh, I don't know. Did they? I don't know if they stripped him or not, but I know he owned the WBC, didn't he, at one point, or WBO anyway. But um, I just see. I mean, I do see this a slugfest,
Yeah,
possibly the first few rounds.
yeah, you're right. I'm
Because
sorry. He still does have the belt, WBC.
okay, good.
Sorry.
Yeah, see, so I think this is for the WBC, his belt. It has to be because Maxayo, his last fight was a title eliminator.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that sets it up. But now, I mean, we just get to see what Maxayo can do, man. Another Filipino.
I really like him, man.
So do I.
You're the
So
one
do
that
I.
introduced him to me. And yeah, he got hit in his last fight. And I think it's who fight? It's kind of like it's like for me, he's like Tank Davis. Like when Tank Davis fights,
Starts
he does
slow.
get hit. He does get kind of hit a lot, and I think it's because he doesn't feel any kind of threat. But when he fought Barrios, you can tell he was more defensive minded when he fought Barrios because Barrios was a bigger guy and he didn't know what he had. I think Magsayo was kind of the same way where he does kind of get hit a little bit more than he should, and it's because I don't think he feels any kind of threat. I think he just likes to be there, try to make his. He tries to get his shots off. If you get two, he's gonna land his one good shot. That's gonna make a difference. And
And he did hit
hey,
the canvas, though, by the way, his last fight. Just letting you know.
he did. He possibly could have had a knockout of the year too.
Yeah, I mean, that was ugly, too.
Seja, right? Was
That
it
guy went
Seja?
straight into the ropes. Guy went
It
straight to
looked
the
like
ropes, ass
it looked like
first.
a fight night video game knockout. Like how everything just went. It just went out. I
Yeah.
like the fight. I think
Split decision for sure on this fight
you
for
got
me.
Gary Russell.
I got Gary Russell, but I'm thinking 115, 113, something like that. It's not going to be, this card won't be crazy. This
Yeah,
card is actually going to be close. And I mean, I really do think Magsayo is going to put Gary Russell on the canvas.
that's what I was gonna try to say. I
He
think
will
yeah,
he will
I
put him on the
see it.
canvas. Middle rounds, it won't happen right away, but I think it's either going to happen with his overhand right, or he's going to come up with his uppercut, his right uppercut, and he's going to put him on the canvas. But then
Yeah.
too, I do think Gary Russell does the same thing. Gary Russell possibly puts him on the canvas in the later rounds. In the
I,
later
I
rounds,
think I think a little different. I do agree with that. Magzial might could get a knockdown. I think he can get it early where he catches Russell cold. As I mean, to me, like I've always liked Gary Russell, but there's
he hasn't proven
there's
himself.
something missing. Yeah, there's still something missing. Just like when
It's just like Haney.
Haney, there's something there. You can see there he's almost a full package in my eyes, but there's just some things that are just missing, and I think that's for me the same thing with Gary Russell. He
I
lost
think for Gary
to
Russell is the lack of fighting.
it could be the lack of fighting, and then I also seen like some of the I think his last fight I can't remember who he fought, but he did win. But you can see moments where he kind of it's either
Gassed.
he gassed or he's just not focused. And he can't lose a moment here against Magzial and not get and stay unfocused and get caught.
Yeah, the
Um,
difference of Magsayo and between him fighting Magsayo is Magsayo actually has the power. Magsayo actually has the body attack. Magsayo actually has the jab. And for a faster fighter, if he can beat, I mean, like, because Magsayo is not faster than Gary Russell, we all know that.
no,
Okay, but I think if Magsayo puts that damn jab in his face, Gary Russell might, like we said, he will get knocked down, and it's going to be a trouble fight.
it will
But I
be.
mean, I think I had Gary Russell just barely sliding through this, barely. Like there ain't nothing crazy on this fight, but I just see it the way the judges are gonna probably see it, and I just think it's just gonna be a very small margin of victory,
Yeah,
which will probably set up a second fight. I'm thinking.
for 2023. Yeah, you're right. 2023.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just some fights to look forward to, guys. I mean, it's once we UFC is about to announce their lineup here pretty soon too, so.
Hmm.
So we're
Yeah,
getting ready for all that, but hey, man, it's been a wild one today. Been a wild one. We did some catching up, man, for all of our all of our fans on here, all of our viewers. Just please, man, just click that subscribe button, man, down there on YouTube, man. It definitely helps us out a lot. Like I said, Tucson, this is gonna be our year, and we're gonna we're coming at you.
yeah. YouTube. And then also we have our Instagram as well. I at least that one. I'm pretty efficient with it. I'll post stuff, fights, tweets from some of the guys we like to follow on Twitter. Ricky Glazer, Michael Benson, Coppinger,
A bunch of guys,
um,
Chris Mannix, everybody,
yeah,
man.
Chris Mannix, Dan Raphael. I mean, I'm not
Just
everybody
certain
likes
people.
Dan Raphael, but I think he's pretty well respected in the boxing world, and he's pretty good when it comes to letting some of the news out there. But
Yeah,
it is our year. We keep going back to where we're going to try to keep these, you know, more consistent, one a week, two a week. But at the end of the year, it's just how it goes sometimes, where you're just not able to get off what you want to get off. But our award is a little bit different, a little bit late, but
yeah. Our
it's it,
reward's gonna come though, everybody. I mean, just welcome, just stay with us on this ride, man. It's starting again, and 2022 is the year for us.
yes, it is.
So join us at Off the Ropes, Boxing and MMA, YouTube and podcast. I'm Julian.
And I'm George. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good night.
Logging off, man.